PowerPoint any. So what I'd like to now turn to is our panelists, and have each of them present on their countries in their region the main takeaway and some examples from the country. So let's go in order of the presentation. So we'll start with Lekha on Asian countries.
Thank you, Janet. I particularly enjoy this project working with Janet due to two reasons. One is the macroeconomic coherence of gender budgeting is back on board. Second, it was very tough to articulate the public finance lens of a gender budgeting project. So in this project, these are the two things. One is that macroeconomic policy coherence is back on board, and the public finance lens is back on board. So given that, if I look at my region, Asia Pacific, the macroeconomic policy coherence means we have fiscal rules, and of course the monetary policy is moving towards the inflation targeting. So when there is no fiscal policy, monetary policy linkages, if that linkages are weakening and the fiscal space is constrained from that perspective, what gender budgeting we can do, that's what is analyzed in the paper. So Janet was particular that before looking into the individual country experiences, we should have this on board, the macroeconomic context. Otherwise, what exactly are we speaking about? And the fiscal policy context. So when we looked about the macro policy context, fiscal rules and fiscal consolidation, in the European context, it's a fiscal austerity. But we have not gone deep into this matter, and Di Nelson has rightly highlighted that the consolidation and the fiscal austerity and its impact on gender-specific allocations or gender-specific policies are important aspect. So given that, then we looked into the fiscal context, the fiscal space. There, in Asia, we can trichotomize the countries into three. One is the countries which looked into the financial inputs alone. Second, the countries which try to link the budget to the results, linking resources to the results. And third, it's very few looks into the fiscal marksmanship analysis. So from the perspective of financial inputs analysis, in Asia, whether it is Korea, India, Philippines, they looked into the existing budget through a gender lens. We may not call it as a gender budgeting, but it's an ex-post gender budgeting. We looked at the existing budget, what's the allocation, as Diane rightly pointed out. It's not only the specifically targeted programs for women, but what is the intensity of the gender in the allocations if you are taking the 0 to 1 scale. So in that way, the intensity of the gender allocations in the expenditure was done. Then next is, 1% of budget we analyzed from this perspective that this is, specifically targeted, but this is not exactly gender budgeting. This is one point which I want to highlight. Second thing which came out of the analysis is that earmarking. In Philippines, gender and development budget, 5% of the budget is earmarked for the gender development. Can we call as a gender budget? Because it's a second best principle. So this is another example. But quite successful experiences were with the linking resources to results. So Philippines move ahead. Now in the East Asia, in Malaysia, the fiscal reforms are happening in terms of the outcome budgeting. So there, how can we integrate? So these are the specific three ways in which the experiences went ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so we'll turn to Sheila. Sheila, do you want to speak on yours?
Yes, okay. I think